to We Gonna Learn Today, where we talk about Black historical figures, some of their accomplishments and accolades, and hopes to inspire you to follow your goals and aspirations by us giving you an example of someone that has traveled that road and had success doing it. Today, I would like to celebrate the life and legacy of Claudette Colvin, a brave young woman at the time whose bravery and determination changed the course of history by challenging the segregation laws in Montgomery, Alabama. I also have some great trivia questions for you. We have a great performance by Kenny, our musical talent, in the segment we call Bio Rhymes. And at the end, I'll wrap it up with a few questions over the material we just covered. So let's get into it. Today's trivia questions have to deal with the civil rights. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 not only prohibited discrimination based on race, but also outlawed discrimination based on which of these suggestions? Two of them are correct. Your suggestions are sex, financial status, religion, and age. I'll put a few seconds on the clock, and then we'll come back with the right answer. Can I get the clock, please? If your answer was religion and sex, that is correct. And it also covers national origin. The March on Washington, held in 1963, was attended by over 250,000 people and featured Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous I Have a Dream speech. Why did they march on Washington? Which of these suggestions are correct? Two of them are the right answer. Here are your suggestions. For voting, freedom, the right to bear arms, or jobs. Can I get the clock, please? If your answers were jobs and freedom, that is correct. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was originally proposed by which of these presidents? And as a bonus, which one actually passed the law? Both answers are in these suggestions. Your suggestions are President Dwight D. Eisenhower, President John F. Kennedy, President Lyndon B. Johnson, or President Richard Nixon. Can I get the clock, please? The president that actually proposed this was President John F. Kennedy. But he was assassinated before it could become law. So President Lyndon B. Johnson, who was his vice president at the time and became president after his assassination, passed it into law. That wraps it up for our trivia for today. Now let's get started on our person of interest. Claudette Colvin was born in Montgomery, Alabama on September 5th, 1939. She was the oldest of 5 children and grew up in a poor family. Despite the challenges she faced, Claudette was bright and was active in her church and community. She was a student at Booker T. Washington High School. In March of 1955, Claudette, then only 15 years old, refused to give up her seat on a Montgomery bus to a white person. This was 9 months before Rosa Parks' famous act of defiance. And yet her story has been overshadowed by Parks' story. But make no mistake, Claudette's act of resistance was just as courageous. When the bus driver ordered her to give up her seat, Claudette refused. The police were called, and at just 15 years old, Claudette was arrested, charged, and convicted of violating the city's segregation laws. She was scared, but also angry that she was being treated as a second-class citizen just because of the color of her skin. She knew that she had to stand up for her rights, even if it meant facing punishment. Claudette Colvin was a key figure in the civil rights movement, and her refusal to give up her seat was a courageous act that inspired many others to challenge the injustices of segregation. Claudette was not only brave, but she was also strategic. She was part of a group of young people who were being trained by the Montgomery Improvement Association to challenge the segregation laws. Claudette's case became a major legal battle, and her courage inspired others to challenge segregation laws. Claudette's case was taken up by the civil rights attorneys who argued that the segregation laws were unconstitutional. The case was eventually combined with several others and became known as Broder versus Gale, which ultimately led to the United States Supreme Court declaring segregation of buses unconstitutional in 1956. In fact, her case became one of 4 cases that eventually led to the landmark Supreme Court ruling in Brown versus Board of Education that declares segregation in schools unconstitutional. But despite her bravery, Claudette faced tremendous backlash from her own community. Some of her peers and even some of her family members were upset that she had brought so much attention to herself and to the community. She was labeled as difficult and uncontrollable because of her actions. Many also believed that because she was a teenager and she became pregnant shortly after the arrest, she was seen as unsuitable figurehead for the civil rights movement. Despite the challenges she faced, Claudette's courage and determination paved the way for the civil rights movement. She stood up for what she believed in, even if it was unpopular or dangerous. Today, we honor her legacy and remember her as a trailblazer in the fight for racial equality. Claudette Colvin's story is a reminder that the civil rights movement was not just about the famous leaders whose names we all know. It was also about ordinary people like Claudette. She was willing to take a stand for what they knew was right, and we must not forget Claudette's bravery paved the way for others, and it was her case that ultimately led to the Supreme Court decision that declared segregation of public transportation unconstitutional. So let us celebrate the life of Claudette Colvin, a true hero of the civil rights movement, and let us be inspired by her bravery and determination to continue the fight for justice and equality for all. Thank you, Claudette Colvin, for your courage and your commitment to justice. Much love. Now, on to my favorite segment of the show, Bio Rhymes, where we take pieces of these individuals' biographies and mix it with a hip-hop beat and turn it into a sing-along performed by our animated musical talent, Kenny. So sit back and enjoy what he has in store for you. Take it away, Kenny. Let's go. What you know about Rosa Parks? She refused to give a seat up, and that sparked a boycott, or better yet, a movement by Dr. King, yeah, the one who had a dream. Well, yes, all of this is true, but let me shine a light on someone else you might not have knew about. Claudette was just a teen. Turns out 9 months early, she did the same thing. But her and 4 others took the state to court, yeah. They won that thing, but the state appealed the case all the way up to the Supreme Court, where the verdict was upheld. No more giving up seats or going to jail. Yeah, this was heard around the nation. She helped change the state law on bus segregation. Yeah, what you know about that? What you know about that? What you know about that? Stay tuned for more facts. Thank you, Kenny, for that performance. Can't wait to see what you come up with for next week. Okay, so to wrap this all up, I'll ask a few questions about what we just went over and see if you guys can get them right. To start off, what city did Claudette grow up in? Your suggestions are Mobile, Montgomery, or Huntsville. Can I get the clock, please? If your answer was Montgomery, that is correct. What was the name of the case to overturn bus segregation? Your suggestions are Gale versus Colvin, Colvin versus Broader, Broader versus Gale. Can I get the clock, please? If your answer was Broader versus Gale, you are correct. Last but not least, what was the name of Claudette Colvin's high school? Was it George Washington Carver, Frederick Douglass, or Booker T. Washington? Can I get the clock, please? If your answer was Booker T. Washington, that is correct. Thank you. And this concludes our segment for today. I hope to see you next week. But until then, stay safe, stay blessed, and keep pushing. Much love to all of you. What we gonna do? We gonna learn today.
Yeah, we gonna learn today. We gonna learn today. We gonna learn today. What we gonna do? What we gonna do? We gonna learn today. We gonna learn today. We gonna learn today. Yes, in God we trust. Learning your history, that's a must. No better time than the present, what I say. Let's feed your brain with some knowledge today. Black history mixed with hip-hop beats. We gonna have you learning while you're tapping your feet. This goes out to every parent kid that love to memorize lyrics to song with no knowledge inside. The beats we have are hot, the information's even greater. You can listen now or later. Let's be blunt, blacks had a lot to do advancing this country named America too.